is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, I'm pleased to have the first time in program history for the Waterbury Career Academy Spartans boys basketball program, the NVL title players themselves, who went through a gauntlet as far as to get to the title and then win it against Kennedy. And I'm pleased to have on two of the Spartans players, one a returning guest, one of them first-time guest, but I'll go to the returning guest first, the MVP of the tournament, for the Spartans, Sonny Pierce. Say hello.
Hey, what's up?
And then I've got Aiden Cross, who is a fine player off the bench and a key player and and a player to be able to watch for come the division tournament in Division 3, the CIAC state tournament, rather. Aiden, say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Now, I'll go to Aiden first. So coming into the tournament, man, I mean, you think about just some of the teams. I mean, Naugatuck was your first round matchup in the quarterfinal. Game plan as far as going into them, because Naughty had a lot of size, right? So what was it like as far as preparing for that game? Because you guys had some days leading up to that game.
So usually we focus. My main goal for most teams is whenever there's a big man, try to just keep a body on them, not really worry about rebounds too much. But Naugatuck, they are sized pretty big throughout the entire roster. So it was hard to focus on one player and let everybody else jump for the rebounds. So it was like a big battle, and we wasn't hitting too much shots. So it was a little harder than we thought it was going to be going against them. But
and I'll stay with Aiden here really quick. So because you play a different, not so much position, but your role is different than Sonny's, because you come off the bench and you're putting up valuable minutes. Sonny's playing a little bit more. So for you preparing for that Naughty game, how were you able to do that, knowing that you only had so many opportunities during practice because the starters are getting more of the time?
Honestly, it's just more focus and just trying to be in each drill as much as possible and try to focus on every play as much as possible, because we'll run through different things, and I would just make sure I'm always on the court, like say playing defense while they're running the offense, so I know at least what they're going to do. So when I get a chance to run it in the offensive drills in the practice with the starting five who I'm going to be running with, it's just I had to seize that moment and just focus a little harder than usual. Especially since I run multiple different positions, it's just more thought behind it, but it's definitely not nothing to worry about or anything.
I'll go to Sonny here. So the first two quarters, as far as the team and then mainly yourself, it was a little bit of a struggle. Shots weren't falling. I know as far as you are concerned, Sonny, I mean, you had 6 points through the first half, and then the third quarter you had 11, as far as really, or total points overall, you had 11, but you had a much better third quarter. Psychologically for you in that first half, just talk to me about kind of, your mindset as far as how to get yourself out of that funk.
Yeah, my mindset was just like, don't even worry about the offense, because obviously both teams weren't hitting shots. There was a really low score, 51-48, I think the final score was. Mm-hmm. But no, in the second half, I just locked down defense, and I just knew I couldn't score that ball that well. Shots weren't falling, so I had to play defense.
And it was a physical game too, guys. I mean, this was a game that you saw not only one, and I'll stay with Sonny here, but two of your big men, which, you guys don't have a lot of big men. You guys are more lengthy as far as long and athletic, speedy guys. But when you saw both of Dasani Yates and also Rossi foul out, I mean, what was it like amongst the group as far as the conversation when that happened?
It was just that we had to box out big time in the final crucial minutes, because they both got fouled out in like 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. So they needed to just do what they were supposed to do and just go get rebounds.
And I'll stay with Sonny here. To see, I feel like because of having 4 out of the 5 starters, it's not a coincidence that 4 out of the 5 made all NVL for a reason. Very talented players. All of you guys know how to ball. But as far as the team is concerned, I mean, how huge was it to have Zaire Locke come up with some big time shots late? I know he hit a big 3 crucial to kind of give you guys the edge. I mean, how massive was that?
It was really big. It came with a lot of momentum, and but that's him though. Like, he brings a lot to the table, and he could do that at any given night. So
I'll go to Ian here. Well, I apologize. What were you saying?
No. It wasn't too surprising. He could do that any day. So it doesn't.
I'll go to Aiden here. Knowing with the two big men who fouled out late, and knowing that even before that, I remember, Ronan, who's the head coach of Career, people don't know, was kind of substituting them in and out. And at some points, not even having either of them on the floor and having yourself and just trying to be able to find a way to keep them from fouling out. For you, Aiden, to match up with some of the big time players, the long players that Nagy had, kind of what was your game plan with that?
So I'm really into lifting and stuff like that. That's one of my passions. Like, I work out a lot. So when it came to seeing how big they were, I really wasn't too worried at all. And I always told Sonny, and I always told all the players, I'm never worried about how big anybody is, because usually they'll have the jumping ability, the athletic ability, but they'll just lack in the strength. So just being able to keep a body on somebody and not letting them get to their comfortable spot was playing a big key in it. And they wasn't able to get as much offensive rebounds when I focused on that. And it was just little things like that. I just wanted to make sure everybody stayed uncomfortable.
And I'll stay with Aiden here, and then I'll go to Sonny next. But I'm sure you guys knew, both playing Naugatuck and just watching a lot of film, and specifically just what happened in the game. They didn't make many shots perimeter wise. A lot of their points came from driving to the basket or second, third chance putbacks. For you, Aiden, when you were in the game, did you know that? And if you did that kind of help you when you were on defense, knowing that, okay, as long as I can contain them enough and not give up my weak side, I'm going to force them to what would be a high percentage perimeter shot is not so much for them, because that's not their strength.
Yes. So one big thing about that, playing Naugatuck, we played them in the regular season. We beat them handily. Like, it wasn't too much of an issue. But knowing that they didn't have shooters to a full extent, I would have to it encouraged me more to play better interior defense, better box out, so forth. But it was honestly a little bit less work for me having to do, because I have my high flyers, Jason Kennedy and Zaire Lott, coming in and soaring for the rebound after I box out, which I always have them do, which is like the best way we could push in transition. And knowing that they didn't have any shooters, they was playing more inside a bit to help out with soaring in and getting the rebounds while I'm boxing out.
I'll go to Sonny here. As far as to escape Naugatuck, which it was very close all the way until the end, and the final score was 51-46. After that game was over, what was the conversation like? Because I'm sure Ronan, again, who is the head coach of Career, probably had a pretty big speech to say after. But as far as amongst the team, just you guys, what was the conversation like, especially with you being one of the team captains?
The conversation was just way to grind the win out, and shots not falling. So we had to focus on defense, and we got that done, and then moved on to the next.
And speaking of moving on to the next, and I'll stay with Sonny here, your next team, or rather the next team that the Spartans played, was the Seymour Wildcats, coming off a big win against Crosby. First time they've beaten them since moving to the NVL from the Housatonic League way back when. Now, because of the snowstorm that we had, or lack thereof, I don't think it was that bad, but you guys had some days off in between. And leading up to that, do you feel like it kind of gave you guys a little bit of a reset to a certain degree after a physical game with Naugatuck?
Yeah, I do. I think it gave us like a couple of days to really regroup off that, kind of a loss in my book, because we should have blew Naugatuck out, but that really gave us a chance to get our heads right and just come back stronger.
I'll go to Aiden here. Now, Seymour is a team that's a little bit different than Naugatuck. They have the ability to be able to do both. They had some perimeter shooters. Paraj is a very good player, can do both. He can drive, he could shoot. And then they've also got some bigs. I know Drezic gave a problem to you guys. I think he scored 33 in the matchup before leading to that game in the semifinal. So as far as preparing for that, now I'm not saying you were matching up with Drezic, but when you were into the game, what was Ronan telling you? What was your job for that game against Seymour in the semifinal?
So before the game started, I was planning on matching up with Drezic, only because what happened last time when we ended up getting a couple switches, I felt the defense was played better on him when I was guarding him near the end of the game for last time we played them. But this time, Dylan had played really good defense on him. So my main positioning was basically just not letting any of their shooters get hot and just crashing the rebounds every chance I could get, and just affecting the game without having to guard the big man, basically.
And I'll stay with Aiden here. How crucial was it knowing that the Nagy game, and I don't know, I didn't write down the final numbers as far as the rebounds, but I felt like it must have been pretty close just because of the way the game was. But how important is it? And same thing applies to for the state tournament when you go up against, if you go up against a Darien, if they win against Prince Tech, they've got some big boys. How crucial is it, both when you're off the bench, but overall as a team, that the rebounding is going to be huge? You can't give teams second, third, fourth chances.
It kind of fires me up more to just bring even more energy off the bench when I do get subbed in. So it's like I would have fresh legs, while the starters on the other team, if they are doing a little better than us on rebounding, then I will come in. And usually when people see me, yeah, I might look like I'm strong, but I'm also small, so they don't expect me to really be physical down there and box out and get big rebounds. So I feel we avoid a lot of the team's second chance points from having fresh players off, like from the bench, to get in the game and just do what they have to do.
I'll go to Sonny here. The Seymour game, if you want to compare the Nagy game, was night and day. You guys looked much better shooting wise. I know the three was falling a lot more than it was against Naugatuck. And then your free throw shooting, albeit there wasn't, you didn't shoot 30 free throws, 6 of 12 is still pretty good. That's 50%. As the game progressed, because you guys started to pull away late in the third, especially once, Lott had 2 threes in the third, you had a 3, and then Drew Williams, who was a fine player as well, also had a 3. So as that third quarter started to go, kind of what were you thinking?
It was just, I was thinking we have to, keep playing like this. And it's just how we usually play, like coming out not hot and not playing the best defense is not how we play. Like we play with fire and no hunger. So we need to keep that up there.
I'll go to Aiden here, to be able to get to, because now mind you, career never had to this point made a final in the NVL. It was always the semi. You guys were always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And I've said that for a number of years. You came so close, even with all the talent that you guys had before even you guys were here with Marquand. I remember Jessa Doctor was on the team. John Edwards was also on the team as well. So, but to get to that final, what was your first reaction once the clock hit 0 and you guys were in the NVL final?
Just knowing how good the teams was before, and knowing how they never had the best of the opportunities, having other great teams like big ones, Sacred Heart being in the league, them always making it, them always dominating the league, just seeing the competition we had this year compared to what they had to deal with. I feel like we had to, there was no way we couldn't make this finals run. And if we didn't make it, then it would have just been an upset. So I feel like just having those 2 games, the Naugatuck game, I feel like that woke us up and got us ready. Oh yeah, regardless of how good a team is in a regular season, this is playoffs. They're gonna play completely different, and that's what happened. Their defense was way better. So Seymour, we was woken and we played way better. So when we went into that Kennedy game, it was just the same thing. We was woke.
And now, I'll go to Sonny here. The Kennedy game, the final, was played within less than 24 hours. Do you think that benefited you guys, because then it allows you just basically move on from Seymour and go right to the next game rather than being stuck in between, having that day off if it wasn't for the snow day?
Yeah, well, I think it benefited both teams because Kennedy also played Holy Cross too, the same day. So we're both coming off good wins. It was just a good game overall.
Yeah, no, it was, both games. The Holy Cross game came down to a final shot. Parker shot of 75 feet, came up just short. Kennedy fought back as well. They were down 13-2 in that first quarter after the timeout and then kind of did their thing. Matching up with Kennedy, it was the third time. Each of you kind of, won your games at your home court. Kennedy won at Kennedy. You won at your home court at Waterbury Career Academy. Going to now the third time, the rubber match, as they call it in baseball. What was it like? I mean, was there massive adjustments made? Was there minor adjustments for you, for the team, anything like that?
I believe that the adjustments was just to come out and play like Spartans, because when we played them at their gym, we didn't come out like that. But when we did at our did, because it was a senior night, and we had a lot of like momentum and like motivation on their back. But no, at championship game, we knew, like, everyone on the team knew that we had to get the championship. We had to lock in on all cylinders and just keep it going.
And I'll go to Aiden here. I mean, Sonny said lock in. I mean, you guys were able to contain an all NVL player in Lennox Serrano. I mean, he only had 8 points. And I did keep track of one stat, and that was the amount of shots that Trueheart took. And I mentioned this to Coach Lavasser of Kennedy. When Trueheart takes more shots than Serrano has points, that usually means you're doing well defensively against Serrano, and you're also forcing Trueheart to have to play a lot of ISO ball and force low percentage shots. And that's what happened. And you were a part of that against Serrano, forcing him outside the paint. I noticed that adjustment too, because I did the game that you guys had at Kennedy, and that was the game in which Kennedy won. So just talk to me about kind of basically shutting down Serrano, because you guys did a great job that game.
So the first game we played them, when we lost bad, like, I mean, one main thing that I was noticing, because that game I didn't even get to have a chance to play that game. So it was like Lennox was getting a lot of like, he was getting comfortable. He stayed pretty too comfortable around the free throw. He'll take his shot, and then no one will box him out to get the thing. So it's just little minor mistakes that was an easy fix. Like, it's not like no teams was hitting their shots or nothing. Like, it was a good game throughout the entire match. But the thing that really kept them in the game was how hard they was playing defensively, and how Lennox was just getting every rebound he wanted. So coming into the senior night game with me starting and stuff, just I felt like I had a lot of energy, and I knew the mindset of how to guard Lennox after seeing the game at Kennedy. And it's like his stats kind of almost split in half compared to what he did at Kennedy. When he went to career, when we played them, he had almost half the points and a little bit half the rebounds. So it was definitely a bigger adjustment, just keeping a body on him, even though he is a bigger, taller player. It helped a lot.
I'll stay with Aiden here. So it sounds like to me, and I've always believed everything happens for a reason. It sounds like you not playing in the Kennedy game at Kennedy was almost a benefit, because you were able to really notice stuff that maybe you wouldn't have if you were playing, because obviously your head's on a swivel and you're trying to watch 8 different things at once. And you're listening to Ronan also behind saying something as far as plays or your assignment, whatever. And then with you starting, you were able to carry that, what seems like from what you saw, into that game, which then led to the NVL final game. What says you?
Yes. So that first game, like, just watching it, it was getting me mad how easy he was able to stay comfortable. And like, there's no reason. He is a great, outstanding player, of course. Like, he won his reward, so forth. So I give him props, but there's no reason for him to have that kind of game against us. Like, it just felt too easy. So like how you said it earlier, I feel like if we keep the ball out of his hands and don't let him stay on that offensive rebounds, the putbacks and so forth, then the game will be way, way more in our hands, having other players on Kennedy have to shoot the ball more. So when we played in that championship game, I tried to have that assignment like 3/4 of the game, the majority of the game, and it played a pretty good role.
I'll go to Sonny here. I mean, as you saw the game progress, and again, the back and forth affair, and then career starts to pull away a little bit. The frustration from Kennedy. I saw players kind of with their heads down, kind of barking at each other. Serrano obviously was frustrated because you guys did something that not many teams were able to do that against him this season. I remember, I think Kobe was one. You guys were another, now twice, one in the regular season, one in the final. And I think Holy Cross did it as well when Kennedy played them for the second time before the semifinal game. But as the game progressed and you guys started to pull away, how hard was it to not think about the final, knowing that you guys were about to win your first title ever in program history, but also focus that, if we mess up on a couple turnovers here, Kennedy did that against Holy Cross, and they were able to find a way to chip away and win the game. How tough was that?
It was tough. We as a group knew what the final task had to be. So we all, like I said, we all locked in for the whole 32 minutes of the game and played to our absolute best on both offense and defense. Aiden came in and did like amazing. Think about like he had 20 something in the first game. Second game he had 15 and Aiden Cross led him to 8. Like if he didn't do that, they would have won. We won by what, 8 points, 10 or something like that. But yeah, I'm just really happy that we came out and we were all as a group and the same head level the whole game.
Yeah, the final score was 68-57, but still, like you said, pretty close. No, pretty close, man. I mean, it's still against a team like Kennedy, who is in the top 4 of Division 2, and they play Greenwich on Tuesday, number 29 seed, while you guys have the bye. It says a lot, especially if Kennedy makes a run. You guys may have put the blueprint on how to be able to go up against Serrano, depending on if you have the pieces. But that's neither here nor there. I'll stay with Sonny here. As the time wound down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, what was that like? Because I felt like it was just like euphoria.
Yeah, I was too happy, and I realized like with like 2 minutes left that we were gonna win, and I really like coach because like that's his first one. We also have another great coach in EJ Ellison, and that's his first year coaching here. So it felt really good, just like getting that win, even for us.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dream come true because I told you in the beginning we were 17-3, we were gonna win the NVLs and make a run in states. So hopefully we keep it going in states.
No, I think you did say, I have to go back and look. I think you said you may have lost 4 games. You may have said 4, not 3.
It was something like that, 17-3 or something.
You know what? It's forgiven. It's forgiven. You did your job, and you got the MVP. So congratulations to you. I'll go to Aiden here. Again, I want to hear the same reaction out of you, but also too, I know you guys love the big Irishman, my former coach for soccer back at Sacred Heart, Ronan O'Leary, to be able to get that title. I could tell even from where I was broadcasting the game, the dude had tears upon tears upon tears. I mean, just talk to me about the whole thing, please.
That is something that he just really wanted forever in this program. So just being able to just play, like for the jump ball to start off the tip, he was just proud that Career was able to be in that position to be going for a title. So when he seen we was up a bit, up like 8 with like a minute left, so we just had to hit free throws, basically just make sure we don't do nothing stupid. He was just, I seen his emotions and it was very positive, and he wanted to not show it too much, and he just wanted to keep a straight face and keep us in the game so we could pull away with the victory. And when that buzzer went off, it was just great. Like just seeing everybody jump up, get out their seats. Like, I mean, Career, everybody, a lot of people was not aiming for Career. I mean, some people was aiming for Career, but a lot of people was aiming for Holy Cross to win this year. And I mean, we was one of the favorites, so we just had to make it happen.
And you guys did your thing, and now it's one of those blessings and a curse. You win the title, and it's like, okay, you want to live up high and live on cloud 9 forever, but then you also know that the job's not done. And I know Ronan put that on Facebook, that the first job is done. Now there's the second job, and that's to do something that's never happened again, just like an NVL title, a state title. And I think Career has been to the quarters, maybe second round, somewhere along those lines, maybe semis. I could be wrong. I have to go back and look, but it hasn't been to a Mohegan Sun final kind of thing. And I'll stay with Aiden here. You guys have the opportunity, because of the way the teams that made it and didn't make it, you guys got to buy so you can regroup. You can even, to a certain degree, watch more film, and you'll be more fresh than either Prince Tech or Darien, whoever wins that game. How much film or what you can share have you guys watched or prepared for with both teams, potentially with one of them playing against you guys?
I know one thing that we will be doing, that I will be talking to Coach about, is being able to, hopefully on Tuesday after that Monday game goes by, is if we practice right after school, if right after practice or before practice, we could watch that game, or at least like say the second half of the game, depending on how time goes. But we really do need to watch film and watch how they play, because Darien, if I'm not mistaken, we played them first round last year, and they're hungry to try to get their get back against us due to how we won last year. If you don't remember the buzzer beater from
how
Zaire.
could I forget that? I was calling the game. How could I forget that?
Yeah, from Zaire. I mean, that's just, as Sonny was saying earlier, I mean, Zaire, if he ain't having the best of his shooting games, he'll just, I mean, it's still not unexpected for him to hit that big shot when needed.
I'll go to Sonny here. Regardless if it's Darien or Prince Tech, it's going to be a competitive game from here on out. You're not going to be facing, even though the seed may be one thing, like you mentioned, Aiden mentioned, Darien's hungry. They don't want to lose to you guys for a second straight year, especially when, just like you guys, you both return a lot of the same players. You know what I'm saying? I know one of the Darien top players, the quarterback on the football program, is back as well, I think for his senior year or something. So that would be one player. And then Prince Tech has a very solid head coach who always seems to get the adjustments correctly. So Sonny, as far as with those two potential teams, would you be watching more film, same amount of film? What's your game plan leading up to Wednesday's game?
Yeah, I'll be watching more film. I talked to the team already too. Like we just have to really lock down on these teams because they're still taking that shot at it, and as being the number 2 seed, I think, yeah, they want to beat us so they can go face another bad team. But no, we have to come out like we did this whole weekend, like we did all season.
I'll stay with Sonny here real quick. Last question. I know that in the conversations I've had with various coaches and even players from doing the podcast and just broadcasting games, I know one matchup that a lot of people would like to be able to see is Career Academy and Platt because of obviously the amount of firepower that both teams have. Do you know much about Platt? Have you seen Platt? Do you know any of the players on Platt? Anything like that? If that was to happen?
Yeah, I know a couple of people. I used to play with a couple of them.
Okay. So Aiden, same question for you. I know, again, the Platt situation is one option. I know also, too, depending on what could happen as well, there could be Law. There could also be Bunnell as well. Have you seen any other teams or watched any other film on any teams besides the one or two teams that you'll be seeing on Wednesday?
No, I don't watch too much film off of teams for say 2-3 weeks from now. I try to worry more about what we're gonna have to the roadblocks in the way to get to those teams. So when it comes after we win this game, I'm not sure if Platt would be the semifinal game or
Platt would be
yeah,
it would be the semifinal game.
So after seeing one of their games, like their most recent game against the team they beat and eliminated them from states, I would definitely watch big time of that game to take notes and figure out what the best way we could do to win.
Guys, I really appreciate you both being able to take time out of your Sunday to come on. Aiden, I appreciate it. Congratulations on the NVL title, and hopefully I'll be seeing you guys on Wednesday or sometime in the future being able to broadcast your games in the CIC state tournament.
Appreciate you.
Sonny, I appreciate you as well being able to come on.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
That'll wrap things up here on the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm a journey find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.